Um, Thank you so much. If you have questions, please put them into the chat. Our next presenter is going to be from the St. Johns County School District. And we're so excited to have Leslie Kudin here with us to talk a little bit about the services that are available for youth in our school system. So, Leslie.
Hey everyone. Thank you all for being here with us today. I'm Leslie Calvin DeLeo, and I am the Mental Health Coordinator for the St. Johns County School District. So some of the things we'll go over today, just look at our mission and vision, who we are, who we serve, how we can connect families, and different contact information. So if you've lived in St. Johns County for a while, you know that our population has doubled over the last 18 years. So with the growing population, the number of students in our schools has also significantly grown, and our number of schools has significantly grown. We're adding schools almost every year right now. And so these are just some quick numbers. And right now we're around 52,000 students in our schools. So our mission, the St. Johns County School District will inspire good character and a passion for lifelong learning in all students, creating educated and caring contributors to the world. So it's not just about the knowledge that they're gaining, but we really want to create caring contributors to the world, to go out and do good, and to better the environment that we're living in. So our vision, all students will choose a learning path that leads to a well-rounding graduate with who demonstrates good character and leadership. So who we serve, right now we have 18 elementary schools. We have academies. So when we use the term academies, we're referring to K-8 schools. We have 7 middle schools, 9 high schools. We have a technical college. We have 2 alternative schools. So one alternative school, our separate day school, is going to serve kindergarten through 12th grades. And then we also have the Gaines Alternative Schools, which looks more it's a result of disciplinary actions, but that's going to be middle and high school. We have a virtual school, 3 charter schools, and 51 total. The name has been released since we created this PowerPoint, but Hollis Cove is going to be our new academy. And we also have First Coast Technical College now under the umbrella of the school district. So we're committed to serve our students and their families. So with student support services, under this umbrella, we're going to have school counselors. And for those of us, when I was in school, this is sort of like the artist formerly known as, this is what we would refer, formerly known as our guidance counselors, but they're school counselors now because that really takes into account the work that they're doing at the school level and that counseling component. We do have district mental health counselors. We have district social workers. We use district because those individuals are going to serve multiple schools at the same time. We have a mental health coordinator, a student service coordinator, a family service specialist, a McKinney-Vento liaison, and a family advocate. So the Student Service Department is tasked with providing support services to our students and their families regarding non-academic issues in an effort to ensure the student's success in the school setting. So as we all know, it's not just you come to school, level playing field, you can come to learn. We may have to look at, we can help provide services for our homeless or unaccompanied youth. If we have students who are in transition, we can help them with transitions. Even when we look to the school level, and I'll repeat this just because I think sometimes people don't know that we do all this. If there is a food insecurity, we can help with the food insecurity as well. So the next slide. So our school counselors, as a couple different agencies have already talked about already, but the Baker Act. So when a student reintegrates into school, we are going to have a Baker Act follow-up. Our school counselors can do the crisis consulting, that initial assessment, and then they can make the determination if we're going to call the mobile response team out, which will be discussed later in this later in the day. They sit on our MTSS and the TAT. would be the threat assessment involvement. And when we're looking at threat assessments, we always take into account that mental health piece. Who has information on the student? What do we know about the student? What is the student's baseline? They can do small group counseling. Sometimes our school counselors are doing check-ins. And so you have someone that's struggling with anxiety. Maybe it's related to school. Maybe it's just an overall anxiety with things that are going on in life. They can teach some of those skills and also check in with the students. Some of our school counselors do short-term individual interventions. They participate in our suicide prevention, coping skills, 504 meetings and monitoring. They do different classroom lessons. So when we talk about just the resiliency that we are trying to incorporate in our character counts, the different character interventions, the school counselors can really help with that. And those are things that are available to all students. So our social workers are going to be one of our main points of contact for child abuse and neglect. We're all mandated reporters, but if we just the coordination of it, if DCF is involved, we'll go through our social worker. They also help with custody and guardianship, human trafficking, immigration, LGBT issues. They sit on our MTSS teams. And so once again, and that's a multi-tiered system of support for all of our students, but we really take into account not just educational needs, but are we missing something from a mental health, or is there another service that we can provide to help when we look at the wholeness of the student? They help with residency. They are our main person who's going to complete referrals for our outside resources. And they also, when a student comes back from being Baker Active and is reintegrated into the school, they're going to help develop a support plan. And so they're going to help the student and the school counselor identify any potential triggers that might be in the school setting. We're going to look at identifying a trusted adult that we can go to if we're experiencing that stress, and also just look at connecting with the services that are needed for the student. So with our district mental health counselors, they're going to screen for services that may be school-based. They're going to offer ongoing individual counseling. Sometimes if we have a group of students, there may also be group counseling, because if anyone's participating in group counseling, sometimes just being in a group and knowing you're not alone, especially when it comes to anxiety, or maybe even working with some coping skills relating to depression, just having that sense of community and working on things together can be powerful in itself. So we'll do that individual counseling, group counseling. They may be involved in Baker Act follow-ups for some of our ESE students, and they can also provide wellness groups. So these are just some other supports that we have in the district under the student support umbrella. And with this, we're just really anything, it's sort of everything that you can think of. We're going to try to help even outside of education, we're going to try to help connect the student with. So getting connected and an overview of the process. One of the best ways to get connected is really going to contact the school's counselor, because these are a lot of people. We offer a lot of different services, but the school counselor is going to be the best one that can connect them, because there is a lot and there's different people, there's different departments. So we don't expect a parent, especially a parent who may be in crisis, or if they are parenting a student that's in crisis, more information, as we all know, is not always better. So in our head, school counselor, let's get them connected with the school counselor, and the school counselor can really look at everything that's in front of them and say, okay, I would like for you to talk to this person, or we need to get you connected with the social worker. And if it's an ongoing counseling need, there may be an outside referral made, and we can get them connected with Brave, who's going to connect them with counseling outside of school. So we have counseling that can happen inside of school. We can have counseling that can happen outside of school. And we can have all different levels of counseling within that. Our school counselor can also maybe if it's not a counseling need, but it's more of a support need in terms of residency, or if we have someone who we're dealing with teen pregnancy, the school counselor can really connect them to the appropriate person so they can get the best targeted appropriate help that they need. So just went over, but the overview is going to be that the school team will then assist them with connecting to the appropriate resource. We have all of those different sources, and this could even come, like I said, with like food insecurity at the school level. It may be just providing, if we have a lot of anxiety relating to not having enough food to make it through the weekend, we'll just having some counseling related to anxiety isn't going to make that go away, because at the end of the day, I'm still worried about what I'm going to eat for lunch tomorrow. So some of the appropriate help, not that some of that layering of counseling may help, but at the school level, we can also help provide food for the weekend, not just when they're in school. And so school now is about the whole student. Not that it always wasn't, but just speaking from personal experience, it was more you went to school and we did the things and we went home. But now we know, sort of when we're looking at Maslow's hierarchy of needs, if we're hungry, if we're worried about where we're sleeping at night, if there is abuse going on in the home, we're not learning algebra. So we really are trying to meet the students' needs. And sometimes that's meeting the needs of the parents too, and the other siblings and the households, so that we can do all that so we can get to the education and we can get to our goal of creating learners and leaders that are going out into the world and finding what they're passionate about and creating more good. So this is just our student service number. If you want to write it down, we can also help connect you. But like I said, I always encourage really, and this is even if you don't know someone or meet someone out in the community, encourage them to connect their school counselor, because they're most likely going to know the student and be able to directly connect with them and get them connected to the resources as quickly as possible. But we will also do the same. So now Josie, and Josie's interesting because there's lots of different things that we could do for the student. But when I first read this, what stuck out to me is she's been skipping school and failing. So hopefully already she's involved with the school counselor. And like I said, our school counselors are really going to look at, why are we skipping? Why are we failing? Are we failing because we're skipping? Are we skipping certain classes because there's something going on with that class? Is there a learning disability that may be going on that's making us resistant to school this year? Is this a new pattern? Is this an ongoing continued pattern? So that's from the education standpoint that hopefully we're already looking at the school level of, why are we skipping? Why are we failing? Either one class or all of the class. Also, when we look at the bringing marijuana on campus, so there it will be discipline that occurs because of this. But even when we look at discipline, how we do in the county, it's not always just a punitive, but we really do try to incorporate a counseling or rehabilitation. We contract with different agencies to provide substance abuse counseling. When this has occurred, that parents can opt in of or opt out of. At our alternative school, there's also different levels of counseling that can occur, from even life skills to extra substance abuse groups, or even different counseling that is involved. So that would be at that school, but we can also connect if she stays at her home zone school. With the abuse, we would still just work with those outside agencies and work with DCF. Sometimes students, and that may be an outside referral, that we have counselors who are outside agencies that meet with students on campus. It may be meeting with a social worker or a mental health counselor. And so, like I said, just the different layers of counseling support that we can incorporate into Josie's life. Oh, and the Baker Act follow-up plan, which she which I already discussed, but she would probably already have a support plan in place. And so have those identified trusted adults and even safe places that she may be able to go to if she is at school and is stressed, and with who to talk to.
So thank you so much, Leslie. So if we're working with somebody and they're skipping school or failing, there are people on campus that we can work with to talk to you about that. Who would you suggest? Like, who's the first point of attack if, say, I'm an outside therapist or outside case manager and something's happening on school? Who would we be connecting with?
Well, and outside, I mean, first would be the mom, and the parent would have to, of course, have an ROI to work with, which we do encourage, especially our outside providers, because school is such a big part of a student's life, right? And just as outside is such a big part. And so we really need to have everyone working together to know what's going on in school and to know what's not. So the school counselor would be the best person, and they'll make sure, and even the social worker, and they're going to make sure that those ROIs, or the release of sorry, I live in acronym world, the release of information, is signed, and what we're looking for, the information, and we'll make sure that communication happens.
Thank you so much. If anybody has any questions for Leslie, please feel free to put them into the chat. If you're thinking a question, somebody else is probably thinking the same question. Let's just take a moment to say thank you so much for being here and for sharing all of that important information.